Good afternoon, Boston Buddies. Welcome to Brunch with the Boston Buddies. Today we have the founder of CharityTeams, which basically has raised about $20 million over the last several years for the organizations that the Boston Marathon supports, as well as thousands of others, it seems like. We have Susan Hurley. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm doing great, Vince. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So maybe you could probably do a better job of explaining what CharityTeams is than me, my stumbling over my words. So can you tell us a little bit about what that organization does?
Sure. CharityTeams is a woman-owned business right here. Started here in Boston, Massachusetts. And what it does is supports small nonprofits with athletic fundraising opportunities. So, such as if you have bibs for the Boston Marathon, which I'm sure you were all familiar with, I help support by management of those bibs for the nonprofit with both regards to fundraising and training. So it's a full management service.
So the BAA, they've got, the sponsored teams or official teams, plus there's tons of other ways it seems like to get bibs through Boston. So your company, basically you can go and help these charities that really don't do race organizations and stuff like that, to help set up fundraising, set up web pages, set up campaigns, and get the runners to actually understand how to do campaigning and stuff like that.
Exactly. So basically, it's sort of a soup to nuts program. It starts, with the charity applying into either the BAA program or the John Hancock Nonprofit Partners Program. I support and help them with that. And then we take it, if they do get in, we take it to the next level. We do a whole recruitment plan, a whole marketing plan for them, build a brand for their team, such as the shirt you're wearing, MR8.
Yeah.
We build a whole brand. We get them up and running, so to speak, and recruit their runners, teach their runners how to fundraise, teach them about running the marathon, what that all looks like. I mean, fundraising is incredibly hard for so many people, and I think it's the scariest part of this kind of a challenge. So we teach them, we take their hand, and we bring them right along from December all the way to race day in April, now obviously September 14th.
Right. And how are things going these days with the charities? Obviously, they're taking a pretty big hit these days with everything that's going on. How are you guys handling the stress and managing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's really been quite the challenge. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like this ever. 2013, after the bombs went off, and then they decided they were going to do the race, and everybody that didn't finish was going to be allowed back in. The climate was let's support everybody fundraising. You didn't have loss of job and all of that. With this, it's definitely a tricky climate. We have pretty much paused everything with the exception of training. You can go out and run on your own, obviously, but you can't train in groups. So many people are running on their own, but the fundraising is literally taking a complete pause for now. And I think that's really in the best interest of all of us, just because there's so many people that are suffering financially from the COVID-19. So we're just trying to sit back and wait and see what happens in the next few months, and hopefully things will get back, our economy will come back, and people will be willing to donate. But right now it's all about taking a pause and taking a step back and being really mindful of just, all of those folks that are just struggling right now in this difficult economic time.
Yeah. What are some of the charities that you're associated with now, like for the BAA? Are there any, where can we get some information about these charities if the people that are viewing might want to just donate? Is there a central website we can go to, or the individual?
If you go to GoFundMeCharity.com, or you just Google GoFundMe Charity Boston Marathon, the leaderboard for the Boston Marathon will pop up, and there are many charities, not just mine but other ones, and you can donate right there. And there's a charity for everybody. I mean, $25, $10, it all is cumulative. It all makes a difference. I hope that people will continue, especially runners will will sort of feel what these other runners are going through right now, and just give them a little lift, because, you know, they've been training hard and they've been fundraising. And I think, you know, even a $10 donation at this point, just to put a smile on one of these runners' face and give them a little bit of hope and opportunity that this race could go on, would really make a difference to people.
Yeah, I agree. You know, whatever we can do to help the runners, but the charity as well. I mean, the causes that are out there are so important. We raise money for survivors of domestic violence. We're also doing a campaign now for American Association for Cancer Research. But there's just so many other causes out there. And we do, on Wednesdays, we do what's called Charity Wednesdays. And you know, that's the day for all the charity runners to promote what they're running for. Do you have any tips that you could offer some of the charity runners that are listening today?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is that learn about your charity, know exactly what they do, so that you can really go out there and really speak for them and be a great ambassador. Because, you know, the people that raise the most funds generally are people that are connected to a cause. They've had an experience with the cause. Maybe they've had cancer in their family. Maybe they have autism. You know, maybe, you know, it's homelessness or drug addiction, whatever it is. You know, if you can embrace and learn about those things that you're fundraising for, it's going to put you in a better position to make those asks for money. If you don't know about the charity, it's so easy to learn about the charities that we run for. I have many people that come to me that, you know, they've never run a marathon in their life. They want to run Boston. They've really never had any tie to a charity before. I tell them to go to my website, charityteams.com, and give me 3 choices and something that resonates with you, whether it be kids sports, whether it be homelessness, brain aneurysm, whatever it is, and then fill the application and send it to me. And then from that point, I think, you know, it's about getting selected and then learning about that charity that you may get selected to run for. So.
Yeah, I know when every year, obviously, when the cutoff is announced after registration, and you know, you got all those runners that qualify, and unfortunately they don't get in. A lot of them try and go to the charity route. So it sounds like, you know, you could potentially help those runners, that they can go to your website and get information about the charities, and, you know, and help get them a bib.
Exactly. So, you know, when that time comes, which is usually around September, or if you can get in, you can get on a list now early to be eligible to get applications early. You know, you basically just go through my website again, charityteams.com, and go to the contact form. Just say, hey, I'm interested in running the Boston Marathon in 2021 or whatever. We'll put you on a list. And then when the charities are selected, which isn't until usually around end of August, beginning of September, we'll let you know. And then you can fill out an application based on the sort of the list of charities that we have. And I work with about 44 different charities of Boston Marathon. Some are in the BAA program, some are in the Hancock program, and some of those charities are in neither program. So they're just random charities that get a few bibs here and there. But they're all small nonprofits, and they're all very worthy causes in our city.
Yeah. And you had a big, big say, or a big, I don't know what word I'm looking for.
Yeah, a big part. I guess a big part. Yeah. So, so MR8, I'll always have a very, you know, I'm very, very fond of the Martin Richard Foundation and all the amazing work that they have done over the years. I mean, I met Bill and Denise Richard right after they had lost their son, and their whole family was affected in the bombing. And, you know, they came to me and, you know, with an idea of building this team. And from there, it just grew, and we've had incredible ambassadors and fundraising for that team and building the MR8 brand over the years. And, you know, I haven't been with them for the last, like, 2 years. They took it internally after we really built out the program, but now I'm dabbling back into it in various areas. And I couldn't be prouder of those 2 people, Bill and Denise Richard, and the work that they have done to put back a positive vibe into our community. They are true trailblazers here, and they should be commended. They're amazing, amazing individuals. Their whole family is.
Yeah. For those that aren't aware of the story, Martin Richard was the 8-year-old that was one of the victims of the bombings in 2013. In 2014, they started the team, which is what you helped them start, and it's raised a lot of money for people over the last 6 years. So that's impressive.
Yeah, it
Thank
was
you for that.
one of the greatest. I always say to Bill and Denise, I wish I never met you, but I'm
Yeah,
glad I did. Really, truly, just one of the greatest stories. A story of really of total sadness, but great positivity
yeah.
for our community.
And there's a park now in his honor in Boston now, isn't there?
Yeah.
They just did
Yeah.
that. I remember
There's a
last time I saw it. Yeah.
beautiful park if you come to the city. It's down at the seaport,
Yep.
and it's lovely. It has a pirate ship. It has swings, and it's handicapped accessible. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful tribute to their son. And it'll be there forever. And just a great way. It just shows like how the community can rally behind someone and behind a family, and also the impact of what getting bibs for the Boston Marathon can do for a nonprofit. I mean, it's profound what the fundraising can do for a small nonprofit, because we
Yeah.
raise a lot of money.
That's great. Speaking of rallying around a specific person, you also recently helped out our guest last Friday, Bobby Gibb, right? You had a big part in getting that statue.
Yeah. So I was asked by the executive director of the 26.2 Foundation, which is another nonprofit that I was working with this year, to help raise the funds for the Bobby Gibb statue. So we were able to raise what we needed in about 4.5 weeks, which is really kind of cool. Wow. And we expedited it. Bobby's story is amazing. I mean, she totally deserves this statue. It's long overdue in women's running. I'm so proud to be a part of it. But it's going to be called The Girl Who Ran, and it's based on this book a children's book that really didn't get a lot of notoriety, and it really should have, because the illustrations are absolutely amazing. And it's if you have little kids, or even if you like to give a book on running, but maybe a little bit of an unconventional gift that's about empowerment, and it's about sort of like getting knocked down and getting back up. The Girl Who Ran is a really amazing story, and it's actually Bobby's story about her approach and what she learned over the course of her journey, and when she actually jumped out of the bushes at the Boston Marathon. So we are naming the statue, from what I've been told, The Girl Who Ran. So that will resonate with all women and men. I mean, let's face it, it's not a story that's just about women. It really is a story about getting knocked down and getting back up. So so I'm really, I'll tell you, it's one of my most proudest things that I've been fortunate to be a part of, because women's running is so important to me, because I know that what it's done for me personally, and I know what it's done for friends of mine, and just all the empowerment. So I mean, hats off to Bobby, hats off to Catherine Switzer, hats off to Joan Benoit, Dina Castor, and all those wonderful women that are continually blazing a trail for everyone.
I agree. And she made the statue herself, she said.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like, isn't that the craziest thing, Vince? I mean, you think about that and you're like, man, like, because this statue is going to be located like right near the start of the marathon, like on the corner, I think, of Hayden Row there. And when you think about like her jumping out of the bushes right around that area, and then years later, now there's this beautiful statue there. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, It's a cool thing to think about.
She created history. She created history, and now it's going to be there forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the first women's statue on the Boston Marathon course, so we need a lot more.
Yeah. Maybe we can get an Emily Morley statue out there. She's one of our members. So.
There you go. Yeah, like we'll just keep raising money for them.
Right.
Maybe we'll have a Vince statue.
I don't want a statue. You know what? I love the Team Hoyt statue at the start.
Oh.
I love their story. It's just so
their story is
inspirational.
beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I did Ironman with Rick and Dick back in the late 80s, Ironman Triathlon World Championship. And, you know, that's when I really got to spend a lot of time with the Hoyts. And, you know, they're another really courageous team, two individuals who just have really blazed a trail in running for other people to allow people to, you know, go and challenge themselves, you know, and isn't that what life's all about, is really taking those risks and challenging yourself and stepping out of your comfort zone. I mean, how boring life would be if we weren't able to go and really push ourselves and you know, out of our comfort zone. And really, I mean, I always say, like, that's where you learn the most. Like, when you start to suffer a little and you get uncomfortable, like, let's go for it.
Yeah, there was a book, The 4-Hour Work Week, which the guy was talking about that a little bit. And one of the things he kind of, the gist of it was, you know, if you always followed the rules, you'd never make progress.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a total risk taker. I mean, I'm 57 years old. I just turned 57, and I still try and run like between like 4 and 6 marathons a year. And usually I try and run them fairly close together. Just, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know if other people feel this way, but I feel like that pain that you get like towards my like 21, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's so painful. It hurts so bad, but for some reason it just goes away after you're done. Like 2 days later, you're like, oh, I really want to feel that again. Or, you know, it's a little crazy to me, but you know, I feel like I start to enjoy that kind of pain a little bit. You know, it's kind of like when you get to Boylston Street. I always tell people, like, that Boylston Street moment is so amazing because it's like an anesthetic, right? You're like in such pain because Boston is such a tough race. Then you make that turn, you know, you go down Kenmore Square and you make right on Hereford, left on Boylston, and you get to Boylston Street, and all of a sudden, like, your body, you don't want to end. You don't feel anything at all. You're just like, let's go.
Right, that's exactly it. It's like
crazy. It's an anesthetic. It's the craziest thing, you know.
Well,
and it doesn't matter how bad you're hurting. You're just like, I want this. Like, I want to wave to my family and friends and get these cheers for the rest of my life. I mean, that's what makes Boston so special, right? It's like the Super Bowl of running for the individual.
Right. Speaking of Super Bowl, you have a connection to I guess there's a football team in New England. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, so I've been with the Patriots, you know, a good part of my life now. I feel like
you were a cheerleader, right?
Yeah, so I cheered for the New England Patriots way back when. Probably the first year that maybe the uniforms got a little risky. So I was back in the 80s, and then I started working for the Patriots about 10 years ago again, with their marathon team. So they have a marathon team. And so I've been working with them with the New England Patriots Charitable Foundation, and they raise money to give back to organizations that have volunteers in them, and we give grants to those volunteers to help lift those organizations, all small organizations, lift those foundations up and really get them jump started.
And you've helped with Gronk's Foundation, right?
Yeah, that actually, I mean, that's probably, that's very close to my heart. I mean, Rob and I started together about I would say about 9 years ago, right after the first year he started with New England. I went to him. You know, I saw that he was here and I knew he had a foundation. I said, I'm going to approach him and see if he'd be interested in maybe doing something together. And he invited me over to his house with his dad. It was crazy. And we sat and we met, and we applied to the John Hancock program, and we got into the program, and he was awarded bibs for Boston Marathon for the Grunt Nation Youth Foundation, which gives back to youth sports organizations. And the rest is history. We've been together for many years now. Disappointed in a way that he's going to Tampa, because he's not going to be as close to me as he was before, but at the same time, it's part of the business. And so I'm so excited for him, because it allows us to continue all the work that we do down in Tampa. And we're still going to be giving back a ton here to New England as well, because he'll always be a New England Patriot at heart.
Is he a runner? Does he run?
He actually, you know what? We joke all the time. Is he a runner? So he tells me that he's run a 5K. So I didn't witness this, but I know that he has this event, really cool event called the Stadium Blitz that he and his brothers had put together. And it is an obstacle course within college stadiums. And, it's called the Gronk Stadium Blitz. And you go and you run and you do all these obstacles and all this stuff. And he told me that, one of the challenges was he had to run the 5K through the obstacles, and he did it. So I'm sure he's training.
Right.
He is not running the marathon yet, but he knows.
Well, you know what? Tell him I want to challenge him to the marathon. And it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles, the Eagle Green versus those Patriots.
Exactly. I will tell him that. I was actually just texting him a little while ago about something else. I will tell him to tune in and watch this once it goes on recording.
Right. I'm going to challenge you. Brock. Revenge for the
he's actually pretty quick. So you'd have to be on your A game.
Right. How could he lose? He should accept this easily. He can beat me. I'm 47.
Yeah,
I'm an old man. He could beat me. So we'll do it for his charity. Yeah. I'll raise for cancer research. He can raise for his charity. We'll see.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's doing like amazing things in the community, and I think I don't know if people really realize the whole serious side to him. It's really important to him to put money back in the community, as well as so many other athletes. So I work with a lot of other athletes as well. So I work for David Ortiz Children's Fund, which does life-saving heart surgeries, Pedro Martinez Foundation, Pedro from the Red Sox, the ace. Yep. So he has a charity that's down in the Dominican, and they also give money back up in Boston here. Manny Del Carmen of the Boston Red Sox, he actually has a charity up here called the Boston Athletic Academy, which we're raising funds to build a school right now. For kids that are talented athletically that need a little educational boost. So that's kind of new to me. And then Sean Thornton Foundation, he played for the Bruins. He has a charity that raises money for Parkinson's and cancer. Joanne Druzzi Foundation, which he played for the Patriots. I have a lot of Patriots players. I'll get to the last one in a second. Joanne Druzzi Foundation is, they raise money for cancer patients and their families with expenses. So, and that charity's been around quite a while now, and doing very, very well. Joe himself had cancer, which inspired him to start his foundation. Yeah. And then, of course, Doug Flutie Foundation for Autism. We all know Doug Flutie, the Hail Mary Pass, and his son.
He runs the marathon.
Yeah, he runs the marathon. Yep, and his son Doug. And then also, I have Tom Brady. So that has been new the last couple of years. So so he has the TB12 Foundation, which helps support the needs of individuals in college and in high school, and even in construction and military with PT services. So they can't get those kind of services because they don't have the healthcare to do so. You can apply, and you can hopefully get in and get some services for you to help. So, so, I mean, everybody has a little thing that they do. And for me, it just makes it fun. And I love working with the athletes, and I just love working with charities.
Yeah, Teddy Bruschi's another one that does a lot for autism.
Teddy he has the Stroke Association. Yes, so Teddy has the Stroke Association, which is really cool. And again, his was started because he himself had a stroke. And like so many foundations are started, it's a labor of love. And So
Yeah, but he runs the marathon.
yeah, so Teddy's run it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teddy's run it a couple times, and really an amazing guy. I mean, yeah, and Bill Belichick Foundation. I work for Coach Belichick. He actually has run the Boston Marathon before.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a long time ago. Yeah, yeah, he was. I think he was a runner at one point in time. So he is an organization that gives funds to. It's very big into lacrosse. Gives to lacrosse scholarships and stuff like that, and football. So, everybody's doing their part. Everybody's doing their part.
Yeah. That's what I've been lucky enough or fortunate enough to be interviewing a lot of the runners, like the bigger names in the sport and stuff like that. And all of them have some sort of connection to giving back to the community in one way or another, whether it's helping out a charity, coaching a charity, starting their own nonprofit for charity. It's a different sport. There's something about it that, the people that excel at it are usually people that are very giving people.
Yeah, very philanthropic. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize, just how important it is for some of these athletes to give back, and some of these sports teams. I mean, it's really part of their whole mission, and it's great to see that. So, and then of course there's all little charities all over the place that get started. I have the Vanessa Marcotte Foundation, which is really an amazing charity that empowers women, teaches self-defense classes. So Vanessa was tragically murdered when she was visiting her parents back home a few years ago. You might remember the story. And then through the efforts of her cousin and her family, they started Vanessa Marcotte Foundation. They were just featured in Runner's World, and that was really important. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different causes out there. There's a cause for everyone, right?
That is true. Yeah.
There's
everybody can pick something that touches their heart.
Yeah. And when it comes to Boston Marathon, runners that qualify can choose a charity to run for, and raise funds for a lesser amount, and be on the team and still get all of those great benefits, like the private buses and, the parties and all of that. I throw a huge party in Boston on Friday night, kicking off marathon weekend every year, called the CharityTeams Boston Team Party. It's at the Harvard Club, and it's not your conventional marathon party. It's not a pasta party. It is a all-out, blowout, happy runners. Let's have fun on Friday night before we go into the race.
Awesome.
Yeah, live music, DJs, food, celebrities. Really great.
Maybe you can join us on Sunday morning. We do a shakeout run with our runners. So, come out and do a shakeout.
No one wants to run the 5K at my party the next morning at the BAA, because they're like, no, we're not running the 5K. We're not getting up that early, Susan.
Right. So the next day, they'll be recovered by Sunday. Join us on Sunday.
Exactly. So, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Boston Marathon weekend is really crazy.
So, but your story too, I mean, you not only fundraise and do all this work with Boston, but you are a runner and triathlete as well. Can you, I didn't ask you your intro story yet. Can you give us a little insight into when you started running and why?
Yeah. Okay, so I always tell people, I started running when I missed the bus in second grade. So I'm notorious for being late. I'm notorious. And that's been my whole entire life. I've been late. So, And so I used to miss the bus. And of course, my parents worked. So, I had no way to get to school, which is probably a mile away. And I would just get that book bag and just start going, and I could see the bus. I would wave to it, and I would just, I feel like that probably started my enthusiasm for being athletic, right? When I grew up, we didn't have a lot of organized girl sports. I mean, I remember being on a softball team when I was probably, oh my God, it must have been almost in junior high. It was called the Flower Power Softball League. I was on the Snapdragons or something like that. It was very girly kind of thing. You had a flower on your shirt, all that. I stunk at softball. I was not good at softball. Okay, but I like to run. So I remember, I tried out for cheerleading in junior high, and I made it. And I remember feeling, I always felt kind of fat, and so it sparked this whole running thing with me. Probably not a healthy thing
Hmm.
growing up, and really suffered from probably just starving myself and running and being not really treating my body with the care that it needed. I think growing up through most of my high school, whatever. But when I started cheering for the Patriots, I did run because we had weigh-ins, and in order to make a weigh-in, you got to drop those extra pounds, or you weren't going on the field. Really not healthy in this climate. Back then, I don't think anybody was really thinking about it because it was a while ago. But I started running, and I just kept running, and I ran Boston back. I ran a 3:16, and I think it was 1988 at Boston, and
Oh, wow.
so that was pretty good. And
Nice.
yeah, that wasn't bad. And I ran New York, and I ran the 3:20 in New York. That was a long time ago. And so that wasn't too bad. And I just started running over the years.
Hmm.
And I remember back then, I felt so odd compared to my friends and my peers, because I felt like not many people ran, right? I remember seeing men out in jeans running, and there wasn't like a lot of running. I mean, it was just kind of strange. I used to watch the Boston Marathon with my dad, who obsessed with Bill Rogers and the white gloves, right? So I used to remember that, and just all the competition and all that. And I used to say, oh, someday I'm going to run the Boston Marathon, and now I look at just the way that sort of my life has progressed, and just all of the incredible things that have happened since I was a young kid. And my mother used to tell me, you will never be a cheerleader the rest of your life. She used to say that to me, because I used to love to cheer and being with the Patriots and all that. You'll never be a cheerleader the rest of your life. It like echoes in my head, right? And I'm like the biggest cheerleader. I'm everybody's cheerleader out of the Boston Marathon course. I'm constantly cheering people on when I'm running. I run down in the, this is funny. One time during my training, I actually brought out my pom-poms, and I did my long run with my pumpkins in my hands, because that's what I like to do.
Nice. Well, you've got the personality for it, I can tell. You're the cheerleader. Yeah, it's great.
Fun. It's fun. I mean, if you can't have fun, what the heck, right?
Right. You talk Bill Rogers. We had Bill Rogers on last week, or on Monday, and
He's
we're having
another
part
one.
2 of his interview tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. It's really good.
Bill is an amazing ambassador for the sport. Just, he's like Bart, he's like Mab, just really true to the sport his whole life. Nicest guy, just nicest guy. And, just somebody that, Bill deserves a statue on the course.
I agree. There you go. Maybe we could do that. Maybe that'll
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yes.
I have a list of statues. I have a list of statues that are going to go on that course. I got to do Billy. I want to do Meb.
Jody.
I want to do Catherine. There's so many people that I want statues of the course. It probably could fill the whole course.
One at every mile marker.
Every mile. Yeah. I've always, I thought about this. I thought, man, I would love to do like do the fundraising for like a whole sort of like museum that sort of goes along the whole Boston Marathon course, where, little kids could come up to it, and there would be like a speaker, and it would actually tell a story of like what might have happened at that mile. Right. I think the history of the Boston Marathon is so amazing. If you think about it, next year is going to be the 125th running of this race, which is mind-boggling. And, you just think about the stories of Johnny Kelly and Catherine Switzer and Bobby Gibb and Bill Rogers and Meb Keflezighi and all the amazing things, Tarzan Brown, all the amazing things that have happened in that stretch of pavement, in the history, like of Wellesley College girls coming out. It's just profound. If they were ever to dig up that road, they could probably auction off all of that pavement for charity, right? Because I'm like, man, it's just the craziest thing. Like the sweat, the blood, the tears, the joy, everything that's in that course is just really amazing to me.
Yeah,
Right?
we had Tom Derderian on, who's probably like
Oh my God.
his book, is the history of the entire marathon, and the documentary was based off of the book. We had both
Oh,
John Dunham and Tom on at the same time, and we had a special screening of the Boston documentary when it came out. I love that movie. I could watch all the time, but and I learned so much from those guys about it. And they said there was so much footage they could have another 5 movies and not
yeah.
have enough time to tell the whole story. Yeah.
Exactly. One of the really cool things that we do with CharityTeams is because we're fortunate enough to be able to train on the course all the time.
Yeah.
So we meet at the Under Armour brand house. That's our sort of home base.
Mhm.
And it's a big Under Armour store on Boylston Street. And so I have a partnership with them, and we run out of there and we run out and back on the course every single weekend. And one of the milestones that I use for Boston Marathon runners it's a milestone in their training is to get to the Johnny Kelly statue, which is at the corner of Walnut and Comac. So once you get to the Johnny Kelly statue, I have the runners run with a pair of Mardi Gras beads. And when they get to Johnny, they put the Mardi Gras beads on them. This is at the Young at Heart statue. It's something that all of my runners absolutely love. I mean, keep in mind, many of my runners are first-time marathon runners. They've never run a marathon, or maybe it's their first Boston or whatever. We do things to make it really fun, to make it challenging. We build in different challenges like that. Well, so that we're teaching something about the course, and we're teaching about Johnny and just his significance to Boston. I actually have I have the Johnny Kelly Facebook page and Instagram.
Oh, really?
I'm obsessed with Johnny Kelly. I love Johnny Kelly. I knew Johnny Kelly, and he was an amazing human being. Yeah, he's an amazing human being. When I give away my medal at my party, I give it to like a few different people who I've felt have excelled. It's actually a medal. I wish I had it with me. It's actually a medal of the Johnny Kelly statue. It's called the Johnny Kelly Award. Uh-huh. Yeah, and to me, Johnny Kelly symbolizes everything of the Boston Marathon. He's the spirit of the Boston Marathon, right?
He ran it 61, or he ran it 61 times, I think.
I mean, he was like 80 years old, 81 years old when he ran his last Boston. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And so if you've ever driven by the Johnny Kelly statue, sometimes you see it heavily decorated. Yep. Okay, there's only a few people that are responsible for that right here. Yeah, I mean, we have to go out there and clean it once in a while because it gets a little crazy out there. But I don't know if you've ever heard of at the Naval Academy, Tecumseh, the Indian that all the plebes and they decorate, right? So it's like a shrine to the plebes and all at the Naval Academy. Well, the Johnny Kelly statue is a shrine to the Boston Marathon runners. And so we take Johnny very seriously. People pray to it. They leave him relics. They put beads on him. They decorate. They visit him. They take photos. We have the Facebook group. We have the Instagram. It's crazy.
Yep, we had one of our members actually went and put we have a Boston Buddy buff, to cover your face, your mask. One of our members went and put the buff on the 2 statues on Boston Marathon Day this year. I don't know if they're still there or not.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, actually, they were all over. They had one on the starting line statue. They had one on Stylianos Karakidis, which is in Hopkins, just beyond Hopkinton, heading into Ashland. They had it on the Hoyt. So, I mean, they probably did all of them, which is great.
Yeah, Amby Burfoot led a movement like a couple of weeks before that to put the masks on them. We had he actually reached out to one of our members, Marty Clark, up in Maine, and he put the mask on the statue of Joan Benoit up there.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, Amby's a great guy. Another one, who has dedicated his life to this sport, right? I mean, him, Bart, Dave McGilvery, all of them, just really dedicating their lives. Billy, obviously, just amazing historians, all of them, seeing what they've accomplished.
Yeah, Amby was in our 5K tournament. He went up against the legend, Gene Dykes. Not too many people stand a chance against Gene.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hope you kind of make it fair and balanced, right? Where you like, what do you do? Like a golf handicap where you're balancing people
It's
out on that challenge?
it's all age. Basically, you've got your ages, and there's a calculator to kind of like even it out
Yeah.
for you. So like women
Okay.
go against men, and you know it's handicap.
Yeah. Very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah,
It's
that's good. That's
it's
good. That's good. So,
it's funny
um,
you're talking about like things that people do on the course. You're given the beads around the
oh yeah.
statue and stuff. Well, one of the best things I saw was right at Heartbreak Hill, where hurt people had the letter F, and they were handing the letter F out, and they were saying, "Get the F up the hill."
That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. Yeah. I mean, people do some crazy things during Boston, right? I mean, there's just, I don't know. I mean, I think my favorite part of the course is, I think one of my favorite parts of the course, at least the most memorable every year, is sort of that space where, you're coming underneath the Tommy Leonard Bridge. So you come out of Kenmore, it's real loud and crazy, but then you go under that Tommy Leonard Bridge, and, anybody that knew Tommy knew, like, again, another great ambassador in the sport of running, to run under that bridge. It used to be called the Mass Ave Bridge, and hear just like the pitter patter of everybody's feet in there with really no cheering in there at that moment. And then it's a little bit, it's very emotional, because at the end of that tunnel, when you come out, all of a sudden it just erupts again, right? So I
Yeah,
always tell my runners, it's a chance for you to collect yourself before you enter the big stage, right?
yeah.
And that little space in there to me is like such a significant moment, because I feel like I always reflect on like all of the training and the hard work and the winters and the fundraising and everything that went in. As you can imagine, when I get to the starting line with all these runners, it's like I no longer have them sort of like in my fold. It's like, you cut the umbilical cord, you go, right?
Mhm.
So, at that moment in that space, it's really emotional for me. And then you come out, and it's like, I feel like, oh my God, here we are, the big stage, all the pain goes away,
Yeah,
running down Boylston Street, the Super Bowl of running, it's pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy thing.
there's
Boston
no,
Marathon is amazing. There's
there's nothing
there's
like it.
really nothing like Boston. There's nothing
Yeah.
like it.
Well, I mean, you were talking about the fans too, and the crazy stuff they do. I mean, that's really what brings me back. I mean, that's what got me. Like the first time I did it,
Yeah.
a fan came out and ran with me because I started walking, and she was like, "You didn't come here to walk," and she started running with me, and she was
Yeah.
just a fan. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just the year of the rain a couple of years ago, just to
Hmm.
see all of those people standing out there
Yeah.
for hours upon hours. I mean, we were out there running. You think like there would have been, no people out there. It was crazy
It
still.
was packed.
It
Yeah.
was packed, and it just goes to show you. I mean, this is why, Boston will always be my favorite race, no matter what. And just it's like home to me. Is really the people
Hmm.
here are just, there are no crowds like Boston. I mean, New York is wonderful. It's a great experience, but I think when you run in your hometown, there's something really symbolic about it. I take seriously everybody that's running the race, and I want them to all have a great experience. I'm like a concierge to runners, so part of my business, booking in hotels and restaurants and babysitting and this and that, because I want them to have the best possible experience that they can. I mean, it's
Right.
really important to me that they come here and they love my city.
Yeah. The city really does embrace the runners like no other city I've seen.
Ah,
I've watched just the regular old people at restaurants buy runners dinner, like
mm,
pick up their check because they have the medal
crazy,
on, and it's like
crazy,
you don't
crazy.
see that anywhere else. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Do you want to talk about charge running?
Yes, I know you do. Charge Running's your next adventure, correct?
Charge running. So, I know that this climate has been really crazy with this COVID, and um, we're all looking for a community to run with. So, we can't run together as groups, but we can run alone together with app Charge Running. So Charge Running is an app that I got involved with about 2.5 years ago. It was founded in Chicago by a few people, and they asked me to come on board, which I gladly did. And basically, it's an app for virtual training, but it's live, which is really cool. So Vince, you could be there where you are in Pennsylvania. I could be in Boston. My friend Barry could be in Maryland, and we could all jump in to a class, say at 3:00, and we'd all be in there, and the coach would be talking to us, and there's music, and they'd be giving us a workout that we would all be doing together with splits and a leaderboard and all that, and GPS tracking and conversation and friendship and everything else. So it's very cool. It's called Charge Running. And you get 2-week free trial, which is really great. We also do live virtual races. So I know you're missing that competition out there, everyone. I know it. I know you're missing the competition. So you can still do it, because if you go on to Charge Running, you will see that we host races all week long, many on the weekends. We have a half marathon coming up. We're doing a huge run with Barstool Sports this weekend. It's explicit, but it's going to be fun. It's actually the Kurt Minahan podcast is going to be brought into our app and broadcast. But I believe Mike Wardian is running. So if you race against Mike Wardian, you could go there. So you go to chargerunning.com and you would download it. You get those races for free since obviously you get the 2-week trial. But it's a great way, and I'm hoping we can help you out in some way.
Can you watch other people race without running?
So it has 3 different modes. So it works both on Apple iPhone and Android, Apple Watch. And basically you have 3 modes with Charge Running. You can go in and you can do live running outdoors. You can do on a treadmill, it works. And number 3, you can do listening in mode, where sometimes I'll just get on the rower because I love to row and cross train, and I'll put on Charge and I'll do the workout on the rower. So you can do listening in mode, or you could just be in the comfort of your own home. The cool thing is there's a little chat room, and you can send messages and the coach will show them out. So you might be running, I might be here in the chat room, and I say, "Hey Vince, you're doing really great, good job." And the coach would say, "Hey Vince, Susan says you're doing really great job, keep going."
Okay.
It's really fun. There's music. We did one on Boston Marathon Monday this year. We called it the Boston 262. We had many people from all over the world in it, because it works all over the world. And it's to your time zone, right? So when you look at the schedule, it's to your time zone. And we had all Boston music, Sweet Caroline, Love That Dirty Water, More Than a Feeling. We even had Renee Rancourt, who used to be, anyways, since a couple of years ago. He sang the national anthem at the beginning. He was the Bruins national anthem singer.
Very distinctive voice. Yeah.
So much fun. So much fun. And Bart Yasso joined in, and he loved it. And we need to use your app for the finale of our 5K Tournament of Champions, and so everybody can see the 2 competitors, whoever it's going to be. They can come. They can watch. Yeah. Yes, that would be so exciting for people. That would be so exciting. Be totally exciting. So.
I love it. It sounds like a great idea. It sounds like a great app.
Yeah, so, it is. It's a great app. And
I know you've got a 1 o'clock that you got to get to. Is that what your alarm is telling you?
Yeah, my alarm is telling me I have to be prepared for the next meeting.
Another Zoom.
Another Zoom. Isn't that all we're doing lately? I mean, I feel like I Zoom and I run. And I Zoom and I run. And I Zoom and I run.
Well, that's good.
With my mask on, of course.
You're getting out there and running, which is good.
I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, a lot of people aren't motivated right now. Some people aren't motivated, but, I say get out there. The best thing you can do for yourself is be healthy, right? That's the best way to combat this thing is to be really healthy.
Control what you can, and don't worry about the rest.
Control what you can. I mean, absolutely. It's just so important to maintain good health. And even if you're just walking's fine. Do the Galloway method, right?
Yeah. We had Jeff on the show. Did
you have Jeff
on?
Yeah. Jeff is great. I actually just tried his Galloway walk run for the first time. The other day on Charge Running, we had him as a guest, and we did a whole live event with Jeff. And I was surprised. I mean, walking is really tough when your body is so geared to running, right? It's tough.
Being out there,
But it was funny. I mean, I wasn't going any slower with the method. It was really amazing how it just kind of all comes together.
Yeah, and it works. His methods work. He's proven that.
Oh my God! I mean, what he has done is just tremendous. I mean, again, another person that has remained true to the sport of running and really been an incredible ambassador.
Yeah.
Just like you, Vince, you're an ambassador for running.
I guess so.
You are. Look at all you're doing. It's amazing.
No, I'm having a good time with it. That's all I'm trying to do is have some fun. And I'm meeting a lot of really nice people like yourself and all these other people that I've been fortunate enough to interview.
Yeah, all the crazy runners were out there. We're all crazy.
Well, last summer I actually was not on tour, but I was traveling for work and things like that. So I was going around and meeting a lot of the members of our group in different cities and stuff like that. It was so much fun.
Yeah, our runners are the best. Runners are the best.
Yeah,
they're just the best people. They're so much fun. They get it. They're thoughtful. They're kind. They're competitive. They just have it all. I've made so many friends in the running community. I feel so blessed in my life for all the people that I've been fortunate enough to work with. And, I think anybody that's, someone that's in the sport as I am and has had that opportunity will all say the same. Runners are really special people. They really are.
They definitely are. Yes. Yeah. Well, hopefully, either I'll see you up in Boston in September, or if you're ever down in the Philadelphia way, definitely connect with me. I'd love to see that. Listen,
if Philly doesn't get canceled, maybe I'll come and run Philly.
There you go. Yeah. Have Gronk come down and run Philly.
Oh my God.
Tell him I want him. I'm going to challenge him. I'm calling him out.
You're calling him out? Okay.
We can do it on Charge Running. The two of us.
Yeah, really. Right? I know. I got to get him on Charge Running and get him working. Yeah. So, but thank you so much. I mean, it's been such a pleasure talking to you and getting to know you. And I think what you're doing is amazing, giving people a platform to come out and be interviewed and tell about what they do. So it's just been really great, Vince. I truly appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I thank you. You're the one raising $20 million, not me. So
well, I want to make it 25. So let's go.
There you go. Well, that's it. CharityTeams.com, right?
CharityTeams.com and ChargeRunning.com. So yeah, I mean, if you want to run the Boston Marathon, get on the list now for charity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hurry up and sign up. Hurry up.
Yeah, sign up. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing from Gronk.
I will let you know. Thanks, Vince. Thank you. Have a good day. Keep running.